today's episode, we'll be going to Elk Cove and then the Warm Springs. We'll be talking a little bit about what we saw, the anchorages and what they're like, and a little bit about our boat kitchen. Here is our route from Tenakee Springs down to Ell Cove. We are back in Chatham Strait and we are going south, and it is a beautiful day. Here's Eric's response to my question of where we're going. The plotter gave me a little bit more information. Here we are, starting to enter Ell Cove. Ell Cove, spelled E-L-L, was named after the shape of the cove. It's shaped in an L. The cove had great protected anchorage. Not only was it a great place to anchor, we had some great entertainment from wildlife during our stay there. When we sold our house and moved onto the boat for our retirement dream, we had several objectives. One was to continue to be physically challenged, mentally stimulated, have new experiences, and to become more open-minded, not closed-minded. Our time at Elk Cove gave me one of those lessons. In Alaska, we are very spoiled, and we know it. We are used to coming into a cove and not having any boats in the cove. And we were a little disappointed that we weren't going to be totally alone with nature. However, that boat had a very nice man in it who was very thoughtful. He kayaked over to our boat to give us some photos of our boat, and one of them with an eagle behind it. It was a very pleasant experience, and I'm glad that boat was in the cove, or we would have missed that opportunity to meet him. We anchored on the south side of the cove, right near the entrance. And the reason why it was a little difficult was we were trying to avoid the shallow area that was marked on our chart. Well, we're anchored. Always fun. It's pretty and it's not dark. Eric did an awesome job. Wasn't an easy anchorage. You can hear the water. Here is some footage of the cove from the drone. Later we saw a small tour boat come into the cove and anchor on the other side of the existing boat, so there is more room. A bear showed up on the beach while I was cooking dinner. They are impressive. Seriously, pick her up. Here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come on. Distin? Did she see it? We wanted Distin to have a chance to see the bear.
She smelled them.
She says, attack!
No, it's better for you.
She smells them. She's ready to go for it. She says, a bear's got nothing on a Havanese dog. This is why we have Distin leashed anytime we go on walks. See? Now that we watched the bear for a while, it's time to get dinner going. We eat the same on the boat as we did at home. While we were running, I went ahead and marinated this chicken so that it'd be ready for this evening on the barbecue. We've started doing tacos with cabbage instead of lettuce. In Alaska, you get your vegetables sent up once a week on a barge, and they're not always fresh. And then on a boat, when you're out there for 3 weeks or more, the lettuce isn't going to stay fresh, but the cabbage does a pretty good job. I'm also trying these green bags. They're supposed to make your produce last longer, but I'm not totally convinced. They keep getting very moist in the bags, and I don't think that's going to keep the vegetables very fresh. When we moved onto the boat, I had to determine which kitchen products were the most essential. The salad spinner made the list, even though it's big and bulky. I think it's a necessity. You may notice that we use real dishes. I'm glad we decided to do that. This is our home, and it does make it feel more like a home. I did decide to replace my glass-stemmed wine glasses. They just didn't seem practical for the boat. I replaced them with Yeti silver wine glass, and they feel pretty good. I normally make my own sauce, but once again, keeping vegetables fresh for long periods of time is difficult. So instead of trying to keep cilantro good and avocado good, I thought I'd try pre-made sauce. The sauce was pretty good. Unfortunately, Eric liked my sauce better, so I will be trying to keep my cilantro fresh for weeks. I normally like to keep my kitchen counters pretty bare. Unfortunately, there is just not enough space on the boat to do that. These spice racks came with the boat, and once I put matching jars, I think it turned out kind of pretty. Next time it's going to be purple cabbage, so it's not all green. The next night, I was reading on the boat deck, and I heard a sound that sounded like a whale. So I got up and started looking around, and I saw the water doing this, right next to the boat. And this happened. It was so close that if I had been on the lower deck, I could have reached out and touched it. I actually rarely swear, but I tell you, this was impressive, and I have to bleep out some language. The neighboring boat finally noticed. They said they heard the noise and saw me looking at the whales and knew exactly where to look. Boat. Look at that.
Shit. Can you get closer?
This is as close as I can get.
What with your other camera?
Yeah, I don't have the long lens. Just enjoy it.
They don't mate here, do they? This is like that time in Tracy Arm. Look at that. You think?
This show went on for 20-30 minutes, and near the end, this small tour boat came in. We're seeing more and more of those since the large cruise ships aren't coming to Alaska. It's the next day, and we are leaving Elk Cove, and we are headed to Baranoff Warm Springs. It's a beautiful day.
I think we found the sunshine.
Yes, have a little hot tub.
Here's our route. It's a really short ride today. We checked out Kesniku Falls just south of Ell Cove on our way to Baranof Warm Springs.
Pretty incredible.
This is a view looking south down Chatham Strait. And here we are entering into Baranof Warm Springs. We're entering Baranoff Warm Springs now. It's a really small community, boardwalks that you walk on. There's water at the dock. The dock's about 250 foot long. The dock does limit boat size to 65 feet. We are tied up at the dock, and here's our view. At the head of the bay, there's a 100-foot waterfall.
It should be noted that the waterfall creates roughly a 3-knot current, setting your boat against the dock until about after half tide, when a rock is exposed and diverts the current. And also the dock is limited to only 2 boats rafting during the busy season.
The boat from Ell Cove ended up being tied up right in front of us. A warning about a brown bear.
So these are the bathhouses. Please take notice, they're not regularly sanitized, used at your own risk. But basically, there's a tub, and the water from the hot springs fills up, and then you empty it out later. You have a nice view. Here's the other one. And you can close or keep the curtains open. Eric just relaxed in one of these while I stayed on the boat deck and just relaxed and enjoyed the sun.
This group had just returned from camping, and so they had washed their gear and were hanging up their gear to dry.
Looks like it's camping equipment. This is the Warm Springs Bay Inn.
We are on the trail headed up to the hot springs and the lake. You take the planks to the left to get up to the hot springs.
These are the natural part of the hot springs. If I remember right, this upper one here is really hot. There's a little bit cooler one below, or maybe I have it opposite. Distin's not getting carried because she can't handle it. She's getting carried because she had a bath yesterday and we don't want her muddy. So if you hike past the hot springs and just keep going on that same trail, you end up at this lake.
There's a Forest Service cabin at the end of the lake, other end of the lake.
Here we are cleaning Distin off. She got dirty despite all of our efforts. After exploring the warm springs and the lake, we took the boat to one of Eric's favorite anchorages. It's marked here in the pink. For the rest of the night, we just kicked back and relaxed in the sun. You may notice that we don't have a tender on our boat. We do own one, but we're trying to get a new motor put on it. It's taking longer than expected due to COVID and just too much work for the mechanics, but stay tuned because we will get one. This anchorage has a rocky bottom, but it is beautiful. The mountains go straight up and it's stunning. Life is wonderful on the water.
Well, Havaseas you later.
Click like and subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you for watching.